We've added a lot of great carbon fiber products on the outside, including our spoiler, full body kits coming soon, door sill plates, beautiful door panels, upper and lower, and our full interior with the dashboard and our center console. This car is completely loaded with everything we have so far, and we even have bezel covers on the same yoke steering wheel, our awesome display that lets the air flow through it, full carbon dashboard upgrade. It is loaded. This is on our showroom floor. Come in Orange County to our showroom to check it out anytime. And this steering wheel now looks amazing. You've got this great clear view when you look out your windshield. And also, we're gonna have this in full carbon fiber, matte and glossy, heated. That's coming next. Thanks again for watching our great installation video. This will be for all Highland Model 3 steering wheel upgrade conversions from RPM Tesla. Okay, this is the RPM Tesla video, the installation, removal video, everything you need to know about putting a steering wheel or swapping out a steering wheel in your Model 3 Highland. So we're going to remove the stock wheel, show you how to assemble everything, including the bezel, the airbag, so you have a beautiful yoke or a round steering wheel or a leather steering wheel or a carbon fiber steering wheel or whatever option we are selling. Okay, let's get started. All right, okay, so first thing is we're gonna turn the power off. And when you turn the power off, don't touch the pedals after you turn it off. Don't move in and out of your seat. Go to safety, power off. Now this is just done as a precaution, so there's no electricity or current going to the... Okay, these are the three tools we're gonna give you. This is a little hex Allen wrench, which is gonna let us release the airbag. This is a T30, which is gonna let us to take the bezel out. And of course, this is the 10 millimeter, which is to take the steering wheel bolt out. So we wanna show you first what's going on the inside when you take this small Allen wrench to release the airbag. So the airbag is out right now. We're gonna show you what we're doing with it on this side. So you're gonna insert it into this hole, and what's going on is this spring inside is moving slightly out of the way. You can see it dead center here. That's gonna move and release the airbag. Okay, so we're gonna put the airbag in and show you. All right, let's take the steering wheel out now by releasing the airbag. Step one is the Allen wrench in the side. Just place it in there gently. Push it until it stops, about a ½ inch. And then you're gonna hold the airbag and push it in a little bit more. That releases the one side. Repeat on the other side, same thing. Just push it in, push the spring in, and now the airbag is loose. And now we wanna release the cable inside. So the yellow cable on the right, just push those two teeth in right there. You can see top and bottom, and wiggle it back and forth. And the cable comes out. Sometimes you gotta get it on the right angle. And now that's out. So put the airbag aside. And now, okay, so that's the purple one, the yellow one's out. Now just reach in. When you squeeze the top and bottom tab, wiggle it back and forth and it comes out. So make sure you do this before you take the wheel out. Both of the electrical connectors have to be removed. Now we're gonna break the bolt loose, or the steering wheel column bolt loose, with a 10 millimeter hex. Go outside the door and do it. So this way you can put more torque. You can have a friend push down while someone holds it, holds the steering wheel. So see, I'm going to push down, and that's it. So you do need torque. If you use a short ratchet, you're gonna think it takes way too much force, but it really doesn't. All right, now we're gonna unscrew it, take that bolt out, and we're gonna walk over to the table. We're gonna show you step by step how to take everything apart and transfer the bezel to your new yoke steering wheel from RPM. So unscrew it, and now taking it out, sometimes you gotta move it side to side, up and down, just back and forth, and it comes right off. But please make sure there are no plugs going through here. You will destroy your steering wheel column. If you leave a plug in, you're gonna rip all the wires out. So please follow our instructions and make sure you have no plugs open. Let's go switch everything over. Okay, the Model 3 steering wheel is out. The airbag is removed. And we're gonna transfer everything here, or the bezel, to this frame. Now this is our die cast magnesium aluminum frame. And you'll see this is exactly what will be left here when this is transferred over here. So, okay, let's get started now, and we'll let you know what tools you're gonna need, but they're common screws. Okay, again, we're gonna give you this T30 torque bit, or Torx, and we're gonna take these 4 screws out first. So just unscrew them with a screwdriver head or a power tool. And that's going to release this big U-shaped piece, but we have to disconnect a wire that's used as a ground at the very bottom. So first take all the bolts out, and then down inside, you see what we're doing is we're wiggling this wire loose on the very bottom, that one. Okay, now that comes off. We can pull out the whole horseshoe piece. So this, along with its 4 springs, are going to be used on here when we remove the rest of the base. Okay, the next is we're going to need a T20 to loosen up a couple screws inside. So they're very small. I don't know why Tesla used such a small one. There's 3 of them. Just unscrew these. This is the ground wire. You can use a flathead, obviously. You don't have to use a power tool. And then on the back side, same tool. Okay, so those are out from the back and these from the front. So put these aside. Okay, now that we have all of our loose screws separated, we're going to take this little cover off. So this is the back of your wheel, a little plastic cover. And we're using a little fine pick just to get underneath it. And it's a small piece of plastic which is kind of like snapped in. So once you get that out, you'll see it just locks in place. And just little clips keep it in the hole. Now there's 3 more in there, and they're T9s. So we got to loosen these again. They're really snug, that's for sure. So we're just doing it manual now. We'll get a little adapter. But after this, it's all going to come apart in a couple pieces. So again, we're keeping them all together. 3 of these on the other side. They're all the same leg screw, nothing to worry about. Okay, that'll do it. That's the last of the pieces for the back lower section of the steering wheel. Okay, keep everything separated. Okay, now when you turn it over, everything releases. Take the V bottom piece out, which is just decoration. And now what we want to do is move these wires towards the center so we can get the shell off the back of the bezel. So just keep moving all these wires towards the center. Everything is loose. Nothing to disconnect, no clips. Now this comes off in one piece, okay? So this is going to be installed on here. So don't worry, we're going to get it, but you can see how this is becoming this exact piece. The yoke is taking shape. All right, now we've got to get some clips loose so we can disconnect everything from this core, the die-cast core. So first thing is we're going to take the switches out. Only a couple screws. Just keep them in order. This is going to release the scroll bar buttons from the front. Okay, so now we have this one piece and these screws. Now we'll do the other side. Same thing. All right. And hopefully we'll be able to just bring this steering wheel over, place it in the same place, put it down, and again you'll have the heat. You'll have the heating, just like this heating element that runs through this core is running through this core. So again, the stock wheel is heated, and so is ours. Okay, so we're removing that from the back. This is the heat wire. Okay, now we're gonna have to disconnect these wires. So we want you to clearly understand how to do it. So you're just gonna put some pressure on the outside with the fingernail and pull it apart. There's nothing to squeeze or unlock. It's strictly a lock-in clip. Okay, so then now we have the core all removed, the bezel all removed. And what do we have? The original round wheel, and we're gonna transfer this into the yoke. So this is what you're gonna keep. If you ever need to take your car in for service or anything, just keep this wheel, reinstall it if you ever have any issues. And again, we don't require you to send back your core. So that is your OEM core. All right, so now we're going to connect everything to this piece of aluminum or the casting. So first thing is the heat element for the right side and the heat element for the left side. Pretty simple. And then we're gonna just snap it into place and we'll flip it over and we'll show you where all the wires are going. So this is a press fit. And they just lock right in just by squeezing them. So it's nice and flush, okay? And now we get to put the backings on and we'll make sure all the wires are straight. So all these wires are here hanging down in the middle where we're gonna put everything back together. So we'll put the covers on the back, put the 3 screws in each side, and everything will be grabbing and pinched nice and snug. So we'll probably speed this up since this is part of the reassembly. But again, I like to do real-time videos so everyone knows how long it takes. But feel free to jump ahead. And don't make it too tight so the screws can all be torqued out after. Three per side, and we'll keep them loose until we get all 6 in. Then we'll double check our fitment on the front and make sure everything is nice and flush OEM-like. Okay, so now this tightness, we believe, and the signals and all the icons, we want it to be nice and flush, pushed all the way down into the handles, okay? And now we're gonna torque them all the way down so everything is aligned nicely. All right. Then next step we'll be putting the plastic shell back on, connecting all the wires once we get it back inside. All right, so that's done. Now we need to follow the next step, which is the plastic. All right, now we're going to reattach the back shell, which should still be in one piece. And the wires have to be secured correctly. So we're going to show you in detail where these wires go. So you notice up here, we're going right next to the aluminum arm. Here, we're placing this in the arm, and that'll ensure a nice tight fitment. And you'll know when you press this together if it's fighting or not, something's obstructing the closure. So we're talking about this closure. There we go. The teeth go all the way down inside, and then when we screw it together, this will be flat and flush. So now we're on the back side with the hex screws. And see, I'll be pushing all the way down and pushing upward on the back side. So that way we can get them 90% snug. We'll do our final pinch test, alignment test, and then we'll torque them all the way. But it has to reach the aluminum. So you feel it grabbing, and now it's pulling it close enough. All right. Should be pretty easy. Now we're torquing all the way down. Okay, now we turn it over. And we're going to put in the rest of the screws. Should be nice and flush. And all the wires are in the correct spot. So when we put the airbag in, nothing's going to be an issue. So now these heat wires, we're going to probably tuck back inside under the switches, and again make room for the cavity to hold the airbag. And then we'll put this on the front and this on the back next. And inside here, so what we're doing is we're pushing the wire down all the way in the back, and then when I put the bezel springs in, the horn will function correctly. Okay, so we'll do the ground after that, but now we're going to go put this piece in the back, I believe, first. And that's this cover. That goes on the front. This is going to go on last after we put the screws in. So these real small T9s, I believe. And they're fun. Just hold the back piece on nice and firm so the threads can reach. So there's 3 here and 2 on the other side. Just like when we took it off. All right. And the final tightening, and then we'll put the cover on. And that'll snap right back into place. Easy. All right, now we're getting closer. The next is the bezel airbag spring assembly to make sure that it's going to ground properly and make the horn honk. All right, now we're going to put the heat wires away. Get them out of, you can see how they lock into that area there. Up and away, same thing on this side. So they just snap into the sides and tuck the excess wire underneath the scrolling switches. Very nice design. That'll do it. Now, we've got to put the ground in. So the orange wire down there is the ground. So we need that before we connect the other ground, which is the power connector for the horn. So use the same screw that you took out of there. Nice. And then the purple. Okay, before we put the horseshoe spring-loaded center bezel piece in, we're going to put those two pieces in on the right and left here, which are going to secure it to the plastic backing. Again, it's always going back and forth, pinching front to back and back to front. Tighten all these down. One more on that side. And then, while we're screwing that in, these are going to go right through the springs, just like this. So I'm going to preload them. And then we're going to torque these all the way down. I have to go all the way flush like this. Don't leave any of the screws sitting up. You have to force them through the threads if there's any issues. But they have to sit flat. That'll keep the distance for the horn honking function of your airbag proper. Okay, so now the horseshoes are going to get dropped in. The bolts or the screws are already inside. So we'll hold it up like this. I'm going right around the cable. And then we're going to use the T30 to slowly tighten them, line them up gently, and then go from one to the other. You don't want to cross thread it. You don't want to be in a hurry. So you can just hand start them, hand thread them. And then you want to come in and hit it. Go down. All the way flush, like we said. No gap. Now the cable here, we're going to put that little connection cable on the horn. It's not really a ground, but it's the connection between the frame and the switch. So when you push down, it's going to honk. So check that gap back and forth. Okay, now we're ready to put it back in the car and insert the airbag, and then we'll do our series of tests to make sure everything is correct. When you get back in, your power will probably turn on. Just turn it off. Now we want to show you again with the spring, that the spring there should be sticking out on both sides because we didn't play with or disassemble any of the spring assembly. So now we're going to insert it right back on. And again, this can't be put on incorrectly. We always like to explain the spline. So the spline has one groove. You cannot put this in incorrectly. There's no alignment, no front end alignment, no wheel alignments will be needed. To set it on, you'll see as we spin it around, move it back and forth, it doesn't lock in until you get it totally straight up and down, and then a little bit of a push, and then you got to push it down. So that's it. So that's installed. Okay, now we're going to put the bolt on because you always do that as a precaution. Again, don't move around the seat. We're 99% sure it's going to be perfect, so we might even tighten it all the way up. Because the good thing about our wheel is that it's all original. We've just put on a different outside frame, or in this case, the yoke frame. So everything is Tesla OEM, except for a little piece of aluminum magnesium casting in the back. Okay. So now we're going to torque this. Again, we always put it at about 85. As long as it's nice and snug, you'll never have any issue. And the nice thing is you have your original wheel. So if you ever have any issues, you always have your original wheel. You can put it back to stock. Okay, snug. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna plug in the power, which gives the wheel and the connections power. Okay, but the power to the vehicle is still off. So we're still gonna put the airbag in next, because sometimes the airbag throws codes, then you gotta reboot and reset everything. Now the airbag's in, and everything's pushed down, double check. And now we're going to insert the airbag gently. And you want to make sure all these plastic pieces, the way these kind of expand, they'll line back up. So again, it's all about compressing and fitting in correctly. Now the wheel's going in, and then when we push it down, the springs lock, and the horn will go in, hit the left side first. Okay, so now there's our Hong test. We have a nice consistent gap all the way around. Now we're going to power the car up. Touch the screen, touch the brake. Close the door. Now, there we go. We have icons lit up on the steering wheel. All 4 on this side, all 4 on this side. We're going to test the functions of the turn signals on the screen. Up and down, high beams, everything's good. Microphone, wipers, on, off, auto, and the cameras. So everything is working proper. Again, it's a real nice match. The black really matches the black leather. We're gonna have this in Alcantara, which will match the Alcantara door panels, perfect. If you have the dual motor, this is a single motor. And we're also gonna have a beautiful white, synthetic white as well. That'll be starting our whole line of steering wheels off for the Model 3 Highland with carbon fiber to come next. Everything is going to be beautiful. We're going to have combinations, and these will be in stock. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, carbon fiber is coming out next. White leather combos. You can slide the steering wheel in and out. It looks great, fits great. And then we've got a great display adapter, carbon fiber overlays. We've got a screen that's going to go here, giving you gauges directly in your point of view driving. Thanks again for watching. It's RPM Tesla, and more to come.